turnover. Thus, calcium supplementation should be done at lower dosage of elemental calcium at a time, and as the calcium absorption fraction decreases at the higher doses. So you need to have a calcium which has a low elemental calcium but high absorption index. So calcium supplements which contain carbonates are best taken with food since they require acid for its solubility. This is not the case for the calcium citrate because calcium citrate supplements can be taken at any time. Now calcium citrate is a biological form of calcium. It is a diffusible calcium, that is it is ionized plus complex and it can cross the cell membranes. The protein bound calcium will act as a local pool, and this is designed to release the immediate need to maintain the plasma calcium range in a stringent limit. A complex 10% is actually complex of iron pairs with the small polyvalent ions including the phosphate and the citrate. The control of the ionized calcium concentration in the ECF is accomplished by adjusting the rate of calcium movements across the intestinal and the renal epithelia. Adjustments are mediated via the changes in the blood levels of hormones, PTH and vitamin D. The blood ionized calcium is directly suppresses PTH secretion by activating the PTH, and calcium indirectly affects the PTH secretion via the effects on vitamin D production. Therefore, the intestinal absorption of calcium is a PTH dependent process and not a derivative of an elemental calcium load. So benefits of a low elemental calcium in the intestines are because an high elemental calcium may lead to a high fecal loss. A high elemental calcium will lead to a low absorption and a high fecal loss. And so it will keep the activity of vitamin D and PTH intact. It will offer lesser calcium ions to avoid saturation of intestinal receptors. It will adjust the intestinal transit to the calcium bolus, and thus it ensures maximum absorption and minimize the fecal loss. So if you have a low elemental calcium in the intestine, the tubular reabsorption in the urine is very efficient. That is, the 98% of the filtered calcium will be returned to the circulation. The efficiency of resorption is highly regulated by PTH hormones. So increased PTH and vitamin D will increase the need of calcium, and it is by that it will increase the reabsorption, which makes the calcium secretion in the urine will be less. So if you have a low elemental calcium in the intestine, it will cause a low lithogenicity. That means the risk of renal stones will be less with a low elemental calcium. So if there is a higher elemental dosage, it leads to higher absorption and higher ECF calcium concentration, and that will lead to a suppression of PTH and vitamin D, and it promotes the calcium excretion in the urine and the excreted extra calcium, which will cause more and more formation of renal stones. So the renal stone formation is higher with calcium carbonate, it will be less with organic calciums like calcium citrate or aspartate. So the conditions that favor calcium absorption is gastric acid. So large boluses of calcium carbonate are poorly absorbed because of their neutralizing effect on gastric acid. So calcium carbonate should be given empty stomach to result in maximum calcium release. This problem is accentuated if the amount of elemental calcium is higher in the product. So in patients with low gastric acid, like elderly patients, the patients on PPI, the patients in which secretion of gastric acid is less, it is preferable to give calcium citrate instead of calcium carbonate because it leads to a lesser bioabsorbable and bioavailable calcium in case of calcium carbonate. Now calcium carbonate can also cause a milk alkali syndrome. The milk alkali syndrome is due to excessive ingestion of calcium and absorption in antacid like milk or calcium carbonate. But calcium citrate does not cause a milk alkali syndrome. Also, the calcium carbonate will act as a phosphate binder, and it reduces the content of the phosphate, which is an important macronutrient. So, in the chronic renal disease, the calcium carbonate is often used as a phosphate binder. It reduces the bioavailability and compromises the calcium balance. So there is a study which suggests that in terms of bioavailability, calcium citrate is far better than calcium carbonate. In a meta-analysis of 15 studies involving 184 subjects, it was concluded that calcium citrate is better absorbed than calcium carbonate by approximately 22 to 27%, either on an empty stomach or an co-administered with meals. Now there is a study on pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic comparison of calcium supplements, and it says that calcium citrate is more bioavailable than calcium carbonate. Calcium citrate also decreases the markers of bone resorption significantly more than calcium carbonate in post-menopausal women. Calcium citrate also has a superior bioavailability than calcium carbonate in post-bariatric surgery patients. So in the post-bariatric surgery patients, the recommended calcium is calcium citrate.